Dre, and I wanted to do a little bit of a quick hit today. Two things that have been in the news recently have been Michael B. Jordan and the whole concept that he's corny, and most recently Ja Morant of the Memphis Grizzlies. He's an up-and-coming star in the NBA, and he risking it all to portray himself in a light that isn't reflective of his upbringing. And at his face, I know you're probably thinking right now, Dre, WTF these two got to do with anything? Michael B is a stand-up guy, and Ja Morant is he's waving around pistols like he admits to society. Like, what's going on? And for me, I think what's happening with both of them go back to the same concept, which is flat blackness. And I don't think I've ever spoken about it on this channel before, but just to kind of sum it up, flat blackness is a concept in which what it means to be black is narrowly defined, and anything that strays outside of that box is alienated. It encounters certain social pressures, and ultimately it gets rejected by the mainstream. So, two things. I believe, one, Michael B. Jordan is an enforcement of the greater society. When you get certain things, such as he's corny, he's lame, this, that, and the third. I think it's a loud, vocal minority trying to impose their concept of what it means to be a black man onto him. And conversely, I believe the behavior that's being exhibited by Ja Morant is indicative of an individual who is trying to conform to those narrow standards. And the reason I say that is, from what I've seen, Ja Morant, it's kind of like the last verse of 8 Mile. Like, oh, I know something about you. You with the Pembroke. That's a private school. Yeah, like, it fits that whole segment that M gave fits Ja. Like, married, comes from a great 2-parent household, went to a great school, gifted, blessed. He was on the path to become one of the greatest players in the league. And it wasn't a stretch to say that in a couple years time, he might be the greatest player in the NBA currently. And it just kind of seems like all of that got thrown away. And for a lot of folks, they would say that it was foolish. And to a large extent, I do agree. Like, it completely agree. It was foolish. However, I believe the motivation for it didn't come out of a vacuum. Because these two are two halves of the same coin, two sides of the same coin. When you have somebody like a Michael B. Jordan who exhibits exemplary character, is at the top of his craft, and he gets the ridicule and pushback that he gets, is very disheartening. And oftentimes, I can speak from personal experience on that one. Oftentimes, as a black man, you will get put in this box by your own people. And that's where certain tropes such as, oh, you're not black enough, comes from. And I don't know this for sure, or I don't know what Ja was going through, but I surmise that some of that could have been what he was encountering. And peer pressure is a strange thing sometimes. And this isn't to excuse his actions or anything like that. Like waving guns and aiming lasers at folks is not cool. But at the same time, when you have once again, a very loud minority that essentially puts down healthy functioning people, healthy functioning men, it becomes one of those things where you feel a little pressure to demonstrate that, nah, I'm not that cookie cutter, corny, whatever that you think I am. And we as a society have to get out of that. And this kind of goes back to the video I did about fixing Black America and changing your mind state and what you value. One of the insults that I saw on Twitter aimed at Michael B was that he looks too responsible. He looks like he knows where his birth certificate is. And not the copy, I mean the original. So hold up. To be a healthy, fully functioning adult is lame now. And they was going in. And it's been so many people going in on them. And you have some people like Joe Budden even who had the audacity, in my opinion, to call him lame. Like, yo, you don't confront your bully and blah, blah, blah. I said, nah, I don't think he said anything out the way. Like, and for those that don't know, the incident basically was he was on the red carpet for an event, and the person interviewing him, he actually went to middle school with, and they basically played a, oh my God, Michael B, it's been so long, like we go so far back. I always knew you was gonna be somebody. Look at you. And you know what? Hit her with the stiff arm. He was like, nah, you used to call me corny. No, we didn't call you corny. Nah, you used to call me corny. And people were like, wow. A clip came, excuse me, and a later clip came out where it's her and another lady, where she said that it wasn't the person interviewing him directly that called him corny, but what she said that was kind of worse, in my opinion. She was like, yo, we used to pick at him because of his name, because he wasn't the father's thing from a Michael Jordan, but he used to come with these stupid A-head shots. Like, what the you gonna do with those? It's like, wow. And here he is today at the top of his craft. So I believe that, in summation, I believe that these two are, in essence, victims of the same force. Flat blackness is something that seeks to put black people in a proverbial box, and it seeks to eliminate the dynamicity of us as a people. When flat blackness, and to some extent a lot of times too, we do it very much to each other, and it's picking, ridiculing others for how they speak. Oh, you speak well, you speak white, you sound intelligent. Whilst, if you pay attention, a lot of times we associate negative qualities with blackness, and positive qualities are not associated with ourselves. And I believe that flat blackness ultimately is one of the most harmful things to us as a people, because it suppresses the most dynamic individuals amongst us, the ones who can most enact and do something great to change our society, to change the world around us. It rejects them and casts them out. And I don't believe that any people, one, should be in the business of, for lack of a better term, ostracizing its best and brightest, its most capable. Because what you're going to get is where they are incentivized to leave because they ain't welcome here. And then on top of that, when they leave, they get further ridiculed, which confirms, yeah, I was so right for leaving, because I not want to deal with you people at all. But the flip side of it is, it further reinforces those stereotypes. It further reinforces the negative perceptions of us, and it shapes how others view us. The reality of it is this: most people may not readily admit it. We may go to work with people of different races and backgrounds and whatnot, but a lot of us do not intimately know people of different racial makeup and backgrounds. We may think we know them or know about particular people, but because we don't have those intimate connections in most cases, what we operate off of in a lot of instances is our limited understanding for those few people that we've had minuscule conversations with. But it comes down to media. This is where we're going to fill in the gaps. And I think a perfect example is like one thing I believe nearly everybody's heard is like, Asians are good at math. And I had a friend when I went to college. His name was Eric. He was Asian, and he freaking sucked at math. If you wanted to lose points on a math test, like, maybe that's a little extreme, but old boy wasn't good at math. And because we had started hanging out after classes and whatnot, because we were going to the same college, it was like, dang, like, did not expect that, did not see that coming. Like, yo, I always viewed you as so intelligent and so this, that, and the third. And not to say that he wasn't, it was just like, nah, I'm a lot of those things. He's like, I can't remember what he said he gravitated to. I think it was like language or something. And it was just like, wow, did not see that coming. And my whole point in that story is this: a lot of us operate off of similarly off of such perceptions of each other. And other people, when they're encountering us, operate off of certain perceptions. That's why, for instance, certain things happen when you go certain places. I think it's a little easy to just write it off purely as racism in all cases, but yeah, it comes from a racist place, a bigoted place. So sometimes, a lot of times, but sometimes it's also people lacking understanding and just simply not knowing and having that proximity. So, closing. Dang, I done turned into Mr. Z. I've closed like 5 times. In closing, I think we as a society really need, as a black society, let me rephrase that, we really need to grapple with flat blackness, because it affects our sisters as well. But for us as men, it really seeks to put us in a very narrow box, in which it encourages and tries to shape us into, for lack of a better term, a criminal mold. And we as a people, we are not criminals. We are not just our bodies. We are not just the sex that we can have and the things that we can do in a bedroom. We are so much fucking more. We are intellectuals. We are artists. We are poets. We are businessmen. We are creatives. We are geniuses. And it's time that we shape the black community to be embracing and receptive and expressive of the entire gambit of us and our abilities. So, let me know what you think. Like, comment, share, subscribe. Peace. Hope you have a great day.